Planning Commission meeting to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll have the roll call.
Mr. Boone.
Here.
Mr. Davidson, absent. Ms. Swords. Here. Mr. Celestine, absent. Mr. Villery.
Here.
Mr. Bullock.
Here.
Mr. Hudson, absent.
Okay, we have the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Commissioners, do we have any amendments, changes to make? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Let's go here.
Mr. Boone.
Yes.
Ms. Swords. Mr. Villery.
Yes.
Mr. Bullock.
Yeah.
Okay, we have two cases tonight before us. The first case is case number 24-12-02, sale or request to purchase a portion of the right-of-way of West 12th Avenue at the corner of West 12th Avenue and South Tyler Street, City of Covington. That portion, West 12th Avenue, measuring 139.92 feet along West 12th Avenue and 29.09 along South Tyler Street. Times 140 feet, adjacent to a portion of lots 6, 7, and 8, square 1111. Adjacent to the southerly right-of-way of West 12th Avenue in the division of New Covington. Said portion of right-of-way adjacent to lots 6, 7, and 8. It's a repeat. The petitioner is Karen DePlantis and Boston Oil Company. Owner is Karen DePlantis.
Some background on it.
Yes,
The petitioners have met with the city, and the request has been reviewed. There is no objection from Public Works, other than the request that there be a 15-foot drainage servitude 7 feet off the center line of the existing underground drainage. City engineer has no objection to it. The councilman for that district has also been involved in the discussions. What has precipitated this, y'all may be aware that this particular site started as actually one of the Crawford quick stops, probably in the early 70s. It then became a time saver, and then eventually was leased by Blossman Oil. The tanks in the ground are old tanks, and Blossman Oil has received funds from DEQ to actually replace those tanks, and this acquisition of the right-of-way is going to facilitate the replacement of the existing aged tanks and to allow the store to be remodeled.
okay. Members, you have any comments for the city before we have anyone speak?
Well, I have a comment. I can't imagine that the city didn't object to this. They're taking the right-of-way all the way to the edge of the concrete of 12th Avenue.
Yeah, taking it to the roadway, correct.
I just find it amazing. So if the guy on the other side of the street wants to take the property to the other edge of the right-of-way, of the roadway, can he do that too?
Well, we would have to petition and get approved by the Covington City Council.
And the city would approve?
You're asking me to take a vote. I'm not on the Covington City Council, Mr. Villery.
So if anybody in the city wanted to just buy to the edge of the roadway, we would set a precedent to allow that to
Let me
happen.
remind you, you are making a recommendation to the City Council. You don't have the decision-making power. The Covington City Council votes on whether or not a street is to be revoked and whether the city chooses to sell that property.
They have to have a supermajority over our recommendation. I just find it amazing that the city administration didn't count that.
Are the tanks that need to be replaced, are they currently under this piece of property?
No.
Okay, so the tanks are all on what is their current property?
Correct.
Commissioners, any other questions for the city? We have someone to speak. If they would like to come to the podium, state their name and address for the record. Andrew Bullock.
Andrew Bullock, 703 North Polk Street.
Yes, sir. Do you have anything to add to what you're,
Basically, Rod covered the history of the site. What happened was when DOT widened 21, it really diminished the potential of the site there. We had a pump with 2 dispensers where 2 cars, 2 fueling positions could fill up at one time, but now that they've widened the street, only have 1 fueling position. And that's what we're trying to accomplish, to get more fueling positions to make the store viable. Really diminish the sales. I mean, we were doing like 45,000 gallons a month. Now we're doing 15. So that's what we're trying to do. That's our goal, to try to put together a site that could be more viable and also remodel it, bring it up to date, try to make it more modern.
commissioners, do you have any comments for the petitioner?
So would you be moving the current pumps back, or would a pump be going on the 12th Street side?
So what we would like to do is put the dispensers basically right in front of the, if you walk out the front door and you walk far enough, you would run into where the dispensers would be, between where the current dispenser is and the front door. But in order to do that, that's sitting right on top of the tank. And what we would like to do is move the tank towards the street. We just don't have enough space, right? So we're trying to squeeze it in, even if we're able to acquire this additional property. We're still going to be squeezing it in, but that's the goal. So that's what we're trying to do. And in doing so, we're going to replace the tanks, because the tanks are old. DEQ wants them replaced. So we're trying to move it all into one project.
Commissioners, any other comments? I will entertain a motion.
I'll move to deny the request.
Do I have a second? I have no second. Motion's failed tonight. Do I have any other motion? Do we have a second? Ms. Covey?
Mr. Boone?
Yes.
Ms. Swords? Mr. Celestine? Mr. Villery?
No.
Mr. Bullock?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we have the second case on tonight's agenda is case number 24-12-03, minor subdivisions. A request for preliminary minor subdivision approval for the subdivision of lots 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, and portion of lots 5, 4, and 6, Square 10, Division of St. John, and a portion of Northley Road revoked, and Square 1 of Division of Marbury, and a parcel of land located in sections 42 and 44. The property is located at the southern end of Northley Road, between Rutland constructed and unconstructed portions and the Bogafly River, including the property having municipal address 125 Lee Lane. Note, per Appendix A subdivision, Section 3.5, minor subdivision applications and procedures, C, 1 and 4B. The petitioner is requesting that the Planning Commission combine the preliminary plat approval and the final plat approval. The petitioner is Justin Fontenoy and Stephanie Fontenoy, and the owner is Vicki Leftwich and Brian Colwell.
Well, this is one of those properties that could have been done administratively, but the acreage exceeds the maximum allowed acreage for an administrative re-subdivision. And also you have an issue that there are 2 different zoning classifications which would prohibit the administrative re-subdivision. But you end up with a total of 3 lots on roughly 10 acres.
Correct. Commissioners, do you have any comments for the city? We have a speaker scheduled if they'd like to speak. If you don't want to speak, you can not speak, take your pick. But if you speak, you need to come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and say what you will, or we'll go to the next phase. Okay. Commissioners, any comments at all?
One
yeah, go ahead.
question.
Mhm.
Rutland, are they gonna continue Rutland?
So what you have is Rutland is a dedicated street, but it's unopened.
Yeah.
So theoretically, the owner of Lot C would just have to ask permission to approve Rutland Street to access it. But it is a dedicated public road.
Commissioners?
Yeah, well,
Yes, sir.
it's at the end of C, and I was just, how you gonna get there?
Go ahead.
How many lots is this going to become?
3.
Is it gonna proceed through that fence, which is gonna be New Lane, the gate on New Lane, will become?
Well, the owner, I presume the owner of Lot A will have access through the gate. The owner of Lot B has frontage on Lee Lane and does not require access through the gate. And the owner of Lot C would go down the continuation of Rutland Street.
So Rutland would continue east into that property.
Yes, Rutland
Okay.
Street is dedicated but unopened for a distance of approximately 360 feet down from the end of Lee Lane toward the river.
Okay.
All the lots have access to a public right.
Yeah.
That's my only.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion, Commissioners.
I'll move to approve.
And we have a motion to approve and a second. Ms. Cohen?
Mr. Boone?
Yes.
Ms. Swords?
Yes.
Mr. Celestine? Mr. Villery?
Yes.
Mr. Bullock?
Yep.
It's approved, okay. Let's see, other business? Ms.
So we wish you all happy holidays. You do not have a meeting in January, so that's your Christmas present.
Yay. No throwing things.
And, if y'all need anything, just call. We'll be working.
Great. Okay, well then that will conclude tonight's Planning Commission meeting.
Mr. Boone?
Here.
Mr. Davidson, absent. Ms. Swords? Mr. Celestine? Mr. Villery? Mr. Bullock?
Here.
Mr. Hudson, absent.
Okay, we have only one case before the commission tonight. It's case number 24-12-02, Annex. It's a request for the city of Covington to enlarge its boundaries. The property to be annexed and added thereto is known as Parcel B, 2.74 acres on Pool Drive, Covington, St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana. Further requesting the classifying of this property as zoning districts ML Light Industrial Manufacturing and CR Regional Commercial under the laws of the city of Covington. The owner is Pool Drive 1 LLC. Stuart Etheridge, petitioner, is the same. Mr. Rodriguez, you have something to say for the city on this issue? We can defer to him if you like. Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Boone, members of the commission, Paul Marone on behalf of Pool Drive 1 LLC and Mr. Etheridge. This property is on Pool Drive, as noted in your staff report, at the end of Columbia. It's the parcel that is immediately behind the American Bank building. A portion of this property is intended to be re-subdivided and combined with the American Bank building. That American Bank building is within the city limits of the city of Covington. So in order to accomplish that, we either had to take the bank building and the property de-annexed out of the city of Covington, or we needed to bring the property in so that we would have the same jurisdiction for both parcels. So that is partially the reason for the request. But in bringing in a portion of parcel B, the owner, Pool Drive 1 LLC, would request that the entire parcel be brought in. We immediately adjacent to the city, have been for some time, and it seems to be prudent and makes sense to bring the parcel into the city. I know that there has been some concern from the administration about sewer capacity in the city, and the city administration has been reluctant to allow annexations in. While I appreciate that, this particular site in its location and these particular uses have very limited draw on your sewer capacity. A portion of the property will bring no additional sewer because it'll be actually added to a part of property that is already in the city. The other part that we are asking to rezone to light manufacturing and industrial is largely going to be warehouse space. So you have a use there that has very little need for significant sewer capacity. So given its location, given the uses that are proposed, we would respectfully request your support in a recommendation to annex the property, allow us to bring it in. The portion that would go to American Bank, we're asking that it be rezoned to CR Regional Commercial, which is what American Bank's property is zoned. And then the remaining parcel, the light industrial manufacturing ML, which is consistent with the zoning that is in place in the parish currently. With that being said, I'll be happy to answer any questions that any of the commissioners might have. Thank you for your consideration.
Commissioners, any questions?
So, is it proposed to be parking for the bank or enlargement of the bank?
Parking for the bank.
So you're not gonna add anything to the bank's sewer express,
No.
outlet?
No, no. The sewer capacity for the bank would
Is
not
not gonna
change.
change.
That's correct.
And then the other part is gonna be warehouse?
Correct.
And
Where,
you
where,
have to, I don't know what the requirement is, but you have to at least have something minimal.
that's correct.
And is that gonna be bank or pool?
That would, the remaining parcel will stay with Pool Drive Number 1 LLC. And that, there will be an office component, so there'll be an office and then warehousing. So the vast majority of the site will be used for warehousing, but there will be a small office component. But
Minimal capacity for draw on the city students?
that would be all, but so of the 2.5 acres roughly that will be in the manufacturing zone, most of that site will be in the warehousing, which does not draw. There will be a small component that would be office, but it would be minimal to the overall size. Thank you.
Any other commissioners, any questions? With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move for approval.
Ms. Gohey?
Mr. Boone?
Yes.
Ms. Swords?
Yes.
Mr. Celestine? Mr. Villery? Mr. Villery? Mr. Bullock?
Yes.
Okay. It's approved on this end. I have two other quick items. We did not do the approval of the minutes.
Okay.
So if we would make any amendments or changes to that, otherwise we'll take a motion to leave as is. I'll make a
move for
motion.
approval.
Move approval, second. Ms. Gohey?
Mr. Boone?
Yes.
Ms. Swords? Mr. Celestine? Mr. Villery?
Yes.
Mr. Bullock?
And since this is our last meeting for December, Ms. McGee, you have anything to add other than Merry Christmas and Happy New Year?
All that good stuff. Stay safe through the holidays, and when we get back February, it'll be time to start on your ethics and sexual harassment prevention and all those fun things that you
Can't
have
wait.
to do in the beginning of the year. So
Sounds good.
enjoy your holidays.
Thank you all. Merry Christmas. Meeting's adjourned.